What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kalina. If you guys are new here, don't forget to hit that notification button, thumbs up if you like this video, and subscribe if you would like to see more videos from me. So I'm really excited for today's video because I'm finally going to be sharing my story with you guys. Finally going to be sharing my story with chronic illness, specifically Hashimoto's disease, how I was diagnosed, what my symptoms were, and kind of my journey so far and what I've done to heal myself. So I hope this video resonates with some of you out there. I know there's a lot of us, you guys, struggling with chronic illness, and it's not fun and it's not fair. So I hope that my story can inspire some of you, and if you want, I talk a lot more about this on my Instagram, so you can go check me out up here on Instagram and we can connect, we can be friends. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So a couple of years ago, you guys, my life looked completely different. I was a senior in college. I went to college out of state, and I was a few months shy of graduating when, you know, things kind of came to a halt, I guess you could say. So honestly, what seemed like overnight, I went from feeling like the best version of myself, happy, healthy, positive, you know, productive Kalina, to literally the complete opposite overnight. And I started to develop really weird symptoms. Some of my symptoms were, you know, I had extreme dizziness, extreme brain fog. I didn't recognize it as brain fog at the time though. I just felt really lightheaded and like I was living behind a cloud. I had extreme anxiety that seemed to come out of nowhere. My muscles, I remember, were like super shaky all the time. Like I couldn't hold my hand still. And, you know, I was chronically extremely fatigued, I guess you could say. Like I remember there were like days, especially when I first started to feel these symptoms come on, there were days when I literally couldn't get out of bed. And, you know, I was a few months shy of graduating, like I said, and I was really worried that I wasn't gonna be able to finish, you know, school unless I figured out what the heck was wrong with me. So I started to feel weird, started to feel these symptoms. I called my mom, I started, you know, telling her what was going on. She said to go see the campus doctor. So I went, I saw the campus doctor, they did some blood work, they did just like the basic blood work. It all came back perfectly fine. They pretty much said, oh, you know, you should go see a counselor. Like, we think you have anxiety, like, you know, you're graduating, you're stressed. And, you know, I kind of rolled my eyes, but I went and saw a counselor as they, you know, suggested. I was like, I'm willing to try anything at this point. And also at this point, you know, I was having anxiety because I didn't know what the heck was wrong with me. So, you know, I saw the counselor and, you know, it was good. I mean, I'm obviously all for therapy, but it wasn't the solution I was looking for, and it ultimately didn't help me with my symptoms. So a couple weeks went by and I still had, you know, all of these symptoms. I honestly wasn't getting any better. I felt worse some days, and you know, it was literally just a struggle just to even get out of bed and get myself to class. Honestly, I sorry mom and dad, but I was not going to class probably, you know, rarely at all those last, you know, couple months when I was really feeling shitty because I literally couldn't get out of bed. But yeah, a couple weeks went on and I decided to kind of take things into my own hands. You know, I'm the type of person where if I'm not getting the answers or the solutions that I'm looking for, I will, you know, start to do my own research and start to find my own answers. So I guess I was proactive in a way, which, you know, looking back now is a good thing. So I started to do research and kind of like Google my symptoms and obviously do the whole WebMD thing, which was not the best thing for me, especially being a hypochondriac. But upon doing my own research, I also started to look into, you know, natural medicine and more alternative ways of healing. Because at the time, I remember just kind of, even before all this happened, I remember just being interested in learning more about natural medicine and, you know, naturopathic medicine and, you know, natural ways of healing. That kind of had always resonated with me more. I just didn't really know enough about it. So I Googled, I remember one night after class, I was like so done with it. I was ready to be back to my normal self. I literally started Googling like, you know, naturopathic doctors. And sure enough, I found a couple doctors in the area that both had really good reviews. I ended up picking one of them and scheduling an appointment literally for like 2 days later, I think. So the appointment rolled around, I went in to see the naturopath, and I kid you not, within like a couple minutes of me explaining my symptoms to her, she had suspected autoimmune disease. She was like, yes, you sound like a lot of my other patients. The only difference is you're a lot younger. I've never really seen anybody this young get diagnosed, but this is what I suspect. So sure enough, she ended up doing a bunch of blood work on me, and I think it was like, I don't know, a week later, the results came back, and sure enough, it was autoimmune disease. It was thyroid autoimmune disease, Hashimoto's at the time. And I remember when she said the word Hashimoto's, she was like, you have Hashimoto's. I literally like started laughing because I was like, what is that word? Like, I don't know why that word just like made me laugh, and I was like, what is that? And then she went in to explain that it was thyroid autoimmune disease, and you know, so yeah, I got the diagnosis from my naturopath, and I obviously continued to see her. She put me on some protocols to follow. She told me that I would need to change my diet. She honestly pretty much told me that I would need to prepare myself for a complete lifestyle change, because that was the only way that I would be able to manage this, you know, disease. So it was a pretty big wake-up call for me, because honestly at the time, prior to being diagnosed, I was living the typical college lifestyle. You know, I was eating pizza, I was drinking beer and wine and alcohol, and I was, you know, eating microwave meals for dinner and just doing all these bad things. And I probably was living that way for, you know, honestly throughout my whole college experience. So yeah, it was a pretty big wake-up call for me. She pretty much told me, you know, you're gonna need to, you know, be cutting out certain foods. I would be needing to add more foods, obviously focusing more on fruits and veggies and eating a lot healthier. So yeah, it was a pretty big wake-up call for me. She also put me on a bunch of supplements, and you know, we agreed to meeting, I think it was like bi-weekly when I was first diagnosed. So yeah, like I said, I was a few months shy of graduating college, so I was only actually able to meet with her in person for a few months, but honestly, in those few months, I started to feel better. I definitely was nowhere near healed, but I was well enough to graduate college, which is a good thing. I passed all my finals, and I was able to walk the stage at graduation, which I'm very grateful for. But after I graduated, I ended up moving back to California, and because of that, I had to ultimately stop seeing my naturopathic doctor because she didn't really see patients virtually. So I was a little bit worried, because even though I was healing and, you know, taking her recommendations were helping me, I still knew that I was nowhere near healed. So I came back home to California, and that was summer of 2017. I started working, and honestly at that point things took a turn for the worse. I would say that summer after graduating was probably one of the hardest summers of my life. I'm not sure what happened, but somewhere, I want to say a few months after graduating, a few months into summer, it seemed like my progress came to a halt. You know, and I started to have, this was really scary to me at the time because I had never had this before, but I started to have breathing problems. I started to get really short of breath. I started to, you know, not be able to exercise because I had the shortness of breath. And, you know, I even went to the ER a couple times, and every time I would go, they would say, you're fine, everything checked out fine. Of course, I didn't believe that, so I would always go and do my own research, which, you know, probably wasn't a good thing. But yeah, I pretty much dealt with this debilitating almost shortness of breath on and on for close to a year. So I think it was summer, close to summer of 2018, maybe it was spring 2018. You know, I started to do my own research more. I started to dive deeper. You know, it had been almost 9 months of dealing with these, you know, obviously I was feeling better, but I was still dealing with these symptoms on and off. And, you know, I definitely was nowhere near back to my old self. So I started to dive in and do some more research. I started to become, you know, more interested in the whole world of holistic healing. And somewhere along the way, I discovered on Instagram, I was scrolling one day, and somewhere along the way I discovered The Medical Medium. I came upon his page, and at first I was like, who is this guy? What the hell? Like, he had 2 million followers almost, and he was, you know, claiming that he was helping hundreds of thousands of people heal through his protocols. You know, and honestly at this time though, I was a little bit skeptical, but I was also intrigued because I had been, you know, let down by, it seemed like, so many doctors, and just, you know, I had been not given the answers that I so badly desired that at this point I was willing to give anything a chance. So I bought his books like literally that day. I remember ordering like all of them online on Amazon. And yeah, honestly, when they arrived, I just started reading. I just started diving into his information, and honestly, you guys, I was mind blown. Like, I learned so much from him, and I'll probably do some more videos because I don't want to make this video too long, but I'll probably do some more videos just sharing his information and what I've learned so far and what has helped me heal ultimately. So I started diving into his information and I learned so much. I learned the root cause of my illness. I learned that, you know, the underlying cause of Hashimoto's essentially is the EBV virus. And when I learned this, I was mind blown because I literally had EBV like so many times as a kid. I could not get rid of it. It would kept coming back. And, you know, I'll probably do some more videos on this later on. But what Medical Medium talks about is that a lot of autoimmune diseases actually stem from an underlying viral or bacterial infection that we oftentimes pick up as children. So when I learned this, I was like, oh my God, this makes complete sense. You know, I had strep throat a bunch as a kid. I was in the ER a bunch because of these infections. I had to have my tonsils removed. Like, I was definitely sick a lot as a child, and it makes sense that these illnesses carried on with me into adulthood and essentially ultimately ended up, you know, contributing to my autoimmune disease illness. Because to me, when I first learned what autoimmune disease was, I first learned that, oh, my body was just randomly attacking itself. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me. I wasn't really convinced. I was questioning it because I was like, why would my body just randomly start attacking my thyroid, you know? So I dove into his information. I learned lots. And I started to implement his protocols, you know? I was like, I need to take this a step further. Like, I'm not feeling well at all. I want to get back to thriving. I want to get back to feeling like my old self. So I took it into my own hands and started implementing his protocols. You know, I was already doing no gluten, no dairy, but I also learned from Medical Medium that you have to eliminate eggs. You need to, you know, eliminate soy pretty much. You need to eliminate corn, canola oil, and you also need to lower your fats and include lots more plant foods. So at the time, I was gluten dairy free, but I would say I wasn't really the healthiest gluten dairy free person. I was still eating lots of processed foods. I was still eating lots of fat. I was still eating lots of meat. So I really just took it a step further and I started to implement his protocols, and slowly but surely I began to heal, you guys. Like, I kid you not, it's crazy. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that it all happened overnight. I'm still healing. I believe that this journey is lifelong, but I've kind of come to peace with that. And, you know, it's been such a journey, but I'm so grateful that I'm here today and I'm feeling healthy enough where I'm in the place to share with you guys my story, because, you know, it feels like not too long ago I wasn't even able to form sentences together. I had such bad, debilitating brain fog. So I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful for, you know, discovering the Medical Medium. And my hope is for this channel to share more information with you that I've learned from him, and information that has personally helped me heal, to hopefully help inspire you to heal on your journey, because I think we all deserve to heal. And with that being said, I have created a free healing guide for you guys. If you're interested in checking it out, it literally just goes over everything that I've done personally so far to heal my body, and it goes a little bit more into depth on my journey. So if you guys want to check that out, you can find it below. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.